yascha mayi anushirate. Sarva veda mayinedam atmanatmatmayonina prajashrija yata purvam yascha mayi anushirate. Sarva veda mayinedam atmanatmayonina prajashrija yata purvam yascha mayi anushirate. Word for word translation. Sarva, all. Vedamayina, under complete Vedic wisdom. Idam, this. Atmana, by the body. Atma, you. Atmayonina, directly born of the Lord. Praja, living entities. Srija, generate. Yata purvam, as it was herein before. Ya, which. Cha, also. Mai, in me. Anushirate, lie. Translation. So this verse doesn't have a purport, but we'll read the translation, and I'll read the translation purport of the following verse. So for translation, you can follow along. By following my instructions, you can now generate the living entities as before, by dint of your complete Vedic wisdom and the body you have directly received from me, the supreme cause of everything. Verse number 44. Maitreya uvacha tasma evam jagat shastre pradana purusheshvara vejedam shvena rupena kanjanabhatiro dade. The sage Maitreya, translation. The great sage Maitreya said, after instructing Brahma, the creator of the universe, to expand, the primeval Lord, the personality of Godhead, in his personal form as Narayana, disappeared. Purport. Before his activity in creating the universe, Brahma saw the Lord. That is the explanation of the Chatushloki Bhagavatam. When the creation awaited Brahma's activity, Brahma saw the Lord. And therefore, the Lord existed in his personal form before the creation. His eternal form is not created by the attempt of Brahma, as imagined by less intelligent men. The personality of Godhead appeared as he is before Brahma, and he disappeared from him in the same form, which is not materially tinged. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 3rd canto, 9th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shridhapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Shute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatirubhascha Kripa Sindhuvaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So I'll read the verse again. It's Canto 3, Chapter 9, 43. By following my instructions, you can now generate the living entities as before by dint of your complete Vedic wisdom and the body you have directly received from me, the supreme cause of everything. Followed by verse number 44. The great sage Maitreya said, after instructing Brahma, the creator of the universe, to expand, the primeval Lord, the personality of Godhead in his personal form as Narayana disappeared. And we concluded the chapter. So, starting tomorrow, we'll be dealing with chapter 10, division of the creation. So, in a nutshell, Lord Brahma, as he's born of the navel of Garbhodakashai Vishnu, he's perplexed as to what to do. So he situates himself in penance, and as a result of that, the Lord appears to him, and prior to that, and once the Lord appears to him, Brahma offers him suitable prayers, and the Lord is very pleased by the prayers, and he imparts him with his blessings. And here we see, after doing so, the Lord disappears. And in this purport here, Srila Prabhupada makes a reference to that Brahma saw the Lord prior to creating the universe, and that is the explanation of the Chatushloki Bhagavatam. I thought maybe it'll be helpful for us to just go through those 4 verses, seed verses of the Bhagavatam. So the Bhagavatam, what was spoken to Lord Brahma was basically these 4 verses, and they serve as the essence of the Bhagavatam, which is that the Lord is a person. So I'll read through those 4 verses of the Bhagavatam if you have means through your phone, or if you've got it handy in front of you, or you can just follow along as I'm repeating it. So, Canto 2, Chapter 9, verse number 33. I won't do the Sanskrit, I'll just do the translation. Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself, nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead, and after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. So the Mayavadis generally, or the impersonalists, or those that decry that the form of the Lord is material, and Nirakara, it's formless. This is an open statement to those. Open statement to those who actually claim that the Lord is impersonal, where the Lord is clearly making it very clear. Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself, nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead, and after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. So the Lord exists prior to the creation, which means that He is not tinged with any material qualities. He is in fact the source of the material creation. It's not that that He's created by the material energy. So it's just a very simple analogy. It is said Christopher Columbus discovered America. That means he's not American. He's something else. He just found the tract of land. He existed prior to him discovering that land. So his identity is separate from being an American. So just in that sense, the Lord, even though this world is functioning in such a way that it seems impersonal, but the basis for it is actually a person. And in that very same purport, in Canto 2, Prabhupada makes a very beautiful, he quotes a very beautiful analogy there, how the government to us seems impersonal. However, the personality that's sitting in the government house is actually a person. So Krishna, this material world functions through the potency, through the agency of Krishna's energies, but Krishna is a person. So that's the first verse of the Chatushloki Bhagavatam. The second verse of the Bhagavatam is, the second verse of the Chatushloki is, O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. Know it as my illusory energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness. So, a lot of times when we see something if we can't see anything in relation to Krishna, then understand that we are actually in darkness. So once Srila Prabhupada was asked this question, Srila Prabhupada, how do we understand, how is it that we see everything in relation to you? And Srila Prabhupada said, just as these glasses that I'm wearing, when I take them off, and when I'm outside of this room, when I'm not visible to your eyes, the moment you see these glasses, you'll be reminded that these are Srila Prabhupada's glasses, these are my glasses, and in that way you'll be conscious of me. So, in the same way, anything we see, we should try and dovetail that in the service of the Lord. So here we have Shri Radha Gopinath. Anything that we have, Pranartha Diya Vacha, anything with our mind, body, words, intelligence, any resources that we can, we dovetail that in the service of the Lord for the glorification of the Lord. Verse number 3 of the Chatushloki. O Brahma, please know that the universal elements enter into the cosmos and at the same time do not enter into the cosmos. Similarly, I myself also exist within everything created and at the same time I am outside of everything. So I exist within everything created and at the same time I am outside of everything. So as we understand, our body is made up of different elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether. But these elements also exist outside of us. So in that same way, Krishna is within, but at the same time he's existing outside of it. So he's completeness. Om Purnam, Idam Purnamidam. Even though he's the complete whole, so that's spiritual mathematics, where 1 minus 1 equals 1, and 1 plus 1 will also equal 1. There is no... It's something that baffles all of us. I think when I first read it, I'm like, oh... Because I thought 1 minus 1, okay, I understand, is equal to 1, but 1 plus 1 is also 1. How does that actually work? But that's, again, transcendental mystery here. And then the final verse is, a person who is searching after that supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, must certainly search for it up to this, in all circumstances, in all space and time, and both directly and indirectly. So all of our endeavors should be directed towards searching for that absolute truth, or for searching out the shelter of Shri Radha Gopinath. So this, like I said, we won't spend too much time here, but if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is refuting the arguments that are put forward by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, which are in essence that he is echoing the philosophy of Shankaracharya. So there are two theories here that is put forward. One is Parinamavad or Satkaryavad. You can read that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 7, verse number 121, where there's this theory of Parinamavad, where we understand that this material world, this material creation, is a transformation of the energy of the Supreme Lord. The Mayavadis, a lot of times the impersonalists, the Mayavadis think that this material world is a transformation of the absolute truth. So Sankaracharya tweaked the words there, and he said that this material world can't be a transformation of the energy of the absolute truth. It's by using word jugglery, he said that there are two things here. One is one of the living entities, which is us, and the other is the material world. And he said both of them are false. Brahma Satya, Jagan Mithya. But we understand that both living entities and the material world are eternally true. They exist. However, mistaking one to be the other is called Vivartavad, the theory of illusion. So if I mistake a rope to be a snake, that obviously is illusion. Similarly, I accept the body to be the self. That is illusion. So that is Vivartavad. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur says that if we don't fully understand or don't fully grasp the theory of Parinamvad, then we'll also fall into the prey of understanding that this world is false, we are false, and we are actually one with the absolute truth. However, the absolute truth remains complete in itself, Om Purnamidam Purnam. But what transforms is the energy of the Supreme Absolute Truth. And we understand in an enterprise, in a corporation, the CEO or whoever is managing the company, what's the fruits, or what we see is the output or the results of that company is basically transformation of the energy of the CEO. So the vision, the management, or the strategic utilization of resources that's being carried out by the CEO or the person that's overseeing that company, that's the transformation of the energy of that person. So similarly, the world works in a similar way. So we should try and fully understand, or to the extent that we can, and not fall prey to the theory of Vivartavad, which is theory of illusion. So we understand that illusion, so Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that, or Baladev Vidyabhushan says that, even though, yes, mistaking a rope for a snake is illusion, however, snake does exist. So how in this world we have counterfeit notes, sometimes, now we have counterfeit vaccines as well. So we have counterfeit notes, but there is the existence of a real note. So there is an existence of a real world beyond this world, which cannot be perceived by our senses. So what I wanted to speak about here is that there's a similar theme. So as we see here, Lord Brahma, the Lord disappears from the vision of Brahma. He instructs him and he leaves. So similarly, and there's a very interesting point that has been made in the earlier verses, where the Lord says that when you try to search out for me to the stem of the lotus, I am manifested from within, and that is my causeless mercy to you. And he goes on to expand, he goes on to explain further, also the prayers that you offered, the penances you performed, and the firm faith that you have in me, that is also my causeless mercy. And just in the previous verse, as Kamsai Prabhu was speaking yesterday, there's a very interesting point that's been made here. In all circumstances, the last point of the purport, in all circumstances one should try to develop love of Godhead, and that will serve all contending problems. So when you put the two together, it's Krishna's causeless mercy, but how does that, it's causeless. There's no mechanical means of us trying to, attract Krishna. It's Krishna's causeless mercy, but Krishna is bound by love. Very early on, when I heard from my Guru Maharaj, when he first joined, when he came in touch with devotees, he met with the devotees a couple of times, he heard from Prabhupada, and he went up to his god brother, and he said, I have a question. And God brother said, yes. Just please correct me if my understanding is correct, but in my little experience that I've gained by meeting with you all and meeting from Srila Prabhupada, I have come to conclude that Krishna consciousness is love masquerading as a philosophy. And Brother Prabhu said, yes, that's correct. So Krishna consciousness is love masquerading as a philosophy. So Krishna's causeless mercy. So we exist because of Krishna's causeless mercy. Obviously we understand that mercy flows through to us through the Guru Parampara, and in front of us we have Srila Prabhupada, who is that Y medium through which that Krishna's causeless mercy has flown through to us. So Krishna is again very mysterious. Krishna works in mysterious ways. We can't fully, with our material senses, we can't fully understand how Krishna does certain things. Last week I was reading in the 10th canto, chapter 8, the universal form, just prior to the Damodar Leela pastime. And in that, Parikshit Maharaj asks Sukadev Goswami that Devaki and Vasudev in the previous birth performed austerities. They performed penances, and the Lord was pleased with them. However, as soon as the Lord appeared for his pastimes, he transferred himself to the residence of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. So he didn't even give Mother Devaki an opportunity for her to feed him. So how does it apply? It's like Devaki and Vasudeva performed austerities, and here we have Vasudeva Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda reaping the benefit. It's like one person has done the austerities and then the other person is taking the fruit. It's like you chant Hare Krishna and he'll go back home, back to Godhead. and devotee tells him, but you keep endeavoring with confidence, Prabhu. Just keep on going. No, it doesn't make sense. But again, we won't elaborate on that further. But again, Krishna, the way he works is mysterious, but that's coming from a platform of pure love. And that pure love can only be relished if one offers prayers with affection. So in these concluding verses of this third chapter, we see that Brahma is offering prayers with affection. And I'll allude to the last section of the purport of the previous verse, is that Prabhupada makes similarly by devotional service, even though one is not on the level of a jnani, one can see the personality of Godhead within himself due to his development of pure love. Again, in all circumstances, one should try to develop love of Godhead, and that will solve all contending problems. So Krishna is bound by love. And that's even though Krishna's mercy causes, but that's what attracts Krishna to our hearts. So, when I was reading this, I was reminded of a similar conversation that happens in the first canto. Can anyone remember what happens in the first canto, where it's something similar? The Lord disappears. The Lord appears for a fraction of a second and then he's gone. Narada Muni and the Lord. So, as we see in the 6th chapter of the first canto, Narada Muni, who's then the son of a maidservant, he says he was so dependent on his mother, but obviously he had the blessings of Paramahamsas. He then, by the influence of time, he said his mother was bit by a serpent, and he took that as the mercy of the Lord, and he starts traveling along north just to get just to see how he can develop his attachment to the Lord. And as he's meditating inwards, as he's focused on the super soul within in his meditation, for a fraction of a moment he sees the Lord, and as a result of that, he's overcome by ecstasy. He is jubilant. He has tears flowing down his eyes. But as he's trying to fully, appreciate the form of the Lord just disappears, and it leaves him perturbed. He just like, oh my God, what just happened? And then again, by the same process by which he was able to see the Lord in the first place, he again tries to meditate, concentrate, focus all of his senses on that. But the Lord doesn't appear. And then the Lord appears to him outside. And it's very interesting what he tells him. He's, obviously, and in that purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, there is no mechanical means to see the Lord. So the same process by which he saw the Lord in the first place, he couldn't see the Lord again. But the Lord is bound by unalloyed love. So the Lord is completely free, as we see in the Shikshashtakam. Oh Lord, you're completely free to do anything and everything, for you're my worshipful Lord unconditionally. So that mood, that attitude of the devotee, where the Lord, the devotee wants to serve the Lord in any circumstance that they can, is what attracts the heart of the Lord. So the Lord appears to him. Obviously, he's very pleased by Narada Muni's devotion, and he tells him something which I made a note of, and obviously you can recall it. He says, "O Narada, I regret that during this lifetime you will not be able to see me again." Just imagine, you've, even on a mundane perspective, you're trying to achieve something, and whatever you're trying to achieve, you're trying to gain audience with the most important person in Australia, and that person comes and tells you, you won't ever see me again. You're doomed. You just feel so distraught. But as a result of that, Narada Muni feels ecstatic. he now finds a purpose to his life, and he goes on glorifying. He takes his next birth, in which he is now Narada Muni, who travels all over the cosmos, glorifying the Lord. So, in this world, what endears us to Krishna are those who are constantly glorifying the Lord, who are constantly sharing Krishna's glories with others. And that is what is the recipe for attracting Krishna. The one who is, can't be attracted by any material means, gets attracted just through this process of kirtana, that is of glorifying the Lord. So, as devotees, especially those directly involved with any sort of outreach, directly involved in sharing this good fortune with others, we come in touch with a lot of disturbing elements. Sometimes we come in touch, I was once hearing Vijay Prabhu, he said that generally he would take rest by 9 p.m. every night, just so that he can wake up next morning and go and participate in the morning programs. But once when he was in Wales, he was told that there is this festival that starts at 10 p.m. at night and goes on till 4 a.m. in the morning. And that is a good avenue of distributing books. So he said, I just gave up my mode of goodness right then and there, and then I just stayed up all night distributing books. And I knew by doing that, he quoted the names of the deities there, that how they were pleased with the service. So a lot of times we may have, there will be instances where we'll be so fatigued, we just would feel that, we don't want to endeavor or go for that extra push to extend that mercy to someone. But when we do so, that is what attracts us to Krishna. And here we see Lord Brahma is in a similar predicament, because as you'll see in the following chapters, we discussed it last week, he's dealing with people, he's dealing with living entities, he has to deal with situations. Every now and then someone is asking him for a benediction and he has to go and, fulfill that particular person's benediction or his desire. And he's trying to just meditate, he's not able to do so, but he's doing that as a service to the Lord. So just on this topic of disappearance, I thought maybe we'll just spend a few minutes here, because we're discussing disappearance of the Lord, and how in that pastime of Narada Muni, we see how the Lord disappeared, but that intensified his feeling of attachment for the Lord. So, as 2 days ago, we observed the disappearance of our Srila Prabhupada, even though Srila Prabhupada, physically, in one sense, of the planet, but he's present before us. He's there to guide us. So, my Guru Maharaj was stating this in his lecture, and I just wanted to share that with you all. He said that how on the eve of just a few days prior to Srila Prabhupada leaving this planet, he was very sick. If you see the videos, you'll see he's just completely, just so emaciated that he's just bones. It's that he can't even, move. And at that time, he got a report from His Holiness Lokanath Maharaj that Lokanath Maharaj was traveling all around Vrindavan, all around India, in bullock carts, he was going on parikram on these bullock carts, and that was very successful in terms of preaching, distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. And Prabhupada expressed a desire that I would also like to go on a Govardhan parikrama on a bullock cart. And as Lokanath Maharaj and his team of Hamsaduta Prabhu and others were overjoyed to hear this, and they tried to make all the arrangements for Srila Prabhupada's parikrama. Now, so there were two parties here. One party was obviously that said that we should always abide by a spiritual master's instruction. We should never question him. Carrying out his duty, carrying out his orders is our duty. However, there was another group of devotees that felt that Srila Prabhupada's health was too frail, that he wouldn't be able to, and especially even if the bullock carts were, padded with mattresses and stuff, the roads of Vrindavan were so unsteady that, even one slight jolt would just, Srila Prabhupada was so weak as it is, what would happen if Srila Prabhupada would just leave his body in that situation? So there was one side of devotees that were having that sentiment of, no, we shouldn't, allow Srila Prabhupada to recover first and only then do so. So they were obviously, now both of them are acting on a platform of pure love. So, as the pastime unfolds, the day before Govardhan Puja, the cart is ready outside the Krishna Balaram Mandir, and devotees are excited who want to take Srila Prabhupada. However, the other group of devotees were feeling very anxious, and they didn't feel that it was the right thing for Prabhupada to do. So at that time, Srila Prabhupada had a god brother, and whoever tried to go to Srila Prabhupada, and this group of devotees who didn't want, who were concerned about Srila Prabhupada's safety, went up to Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada just, anything that they put forward to Srila Prabhupada was able to just say, "Look, I won't die in one day, just let me go." And anything that they put forward, Srila Prabhupada said, "Look, I've always wanted to do this," and he wasn't giving in that sense. So Srila Prabhupada had a god brother named Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, whom Srila Prabhupada called a Paramahamsa, and he happened to be there. So his Bhakti Charu Maharaj was asked to convey the message to Babaji Maharaj that please can you, because obviously Babaji Maharaj was quite senior to Srila Prabhupada, so if he were to convince Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada would have then give up his desire at that moment to go around Govardhan. So Babaji Maharaj understood the situation, and he went and told Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada then said, okay, so Babaji Maharaj said, look, these devotees don't want you to go because your health is so weak, and just recover your health a bit more and then you can go. And Srila Prabhupada said, okay, so they don't want me to go? And Babaji Maharaj said, yes. Like, okay, then I won't go. At the same time, the devotees who were there, who got the news, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Bhakti Charu Swami, and I believe Bhavananda Prabhu too at that time, came up to Srila Prabhupada and Prabhupada broke the news, and they were so relieved. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj said that, Srila Prabhupada, I feel like you do all of this just to draw out our love for you. You put us in so much anxiety, but I feel that you're doing that just to draw out our love for you. And Srila Prabhupada said, that's my duty. So, even though both sides, one for and one against, they were acting, Srila Prabhupada performed this pastime in such a way just to draw out loving sentiments from both of them. So, in our service to a spiritual master, Radha Gopinath, that is the essence there, where they're trying to draw out loving sentiments, which in turn increases our attachment to the Lordship, and in this instance, Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. So, in a similar way, the Lord disappears from the vision of Brahma, but Lord Brahma has had darshan of the Lord, which will now allow him to perform his work in the service of the Lord. So, service and separation is obviously the highest ecstasy. So, so those were some of the points that I just wanted to make for today. If there's any questions or comments. Okay, thank you very much. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Hita Go Premanande. Srila Prabhupada ki, joy.